People in Willow Bend always whispered that the worst trades ever made weren't in cattle, land, or gold, but in daughters. And on a scorching August afternoon, 18-year-old Mira Clay became one of those whispers. Before we dive in, if you find yourself drawn into her journey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Your support helps stories like hers reach more people who need hope. The story begins on the day Mira's father exchanged her life for a sack of flour. She had seen the drought eating their land day after day, had watched animals starve and neighbors flee. She knew her father was desperate. But never, did she imagine he would give away his only child to a man twice his age in exchange for grain. The moment she heard the bargain sealed, she felt the ground drain out from under her feet. Her father didn't look at her, maybe shame stopped him, or maybe he had none left. She didn't cry. She just stared at the dusty sack of flour sitting on their wooden table, wondering if she was really worth less than that. The man who bought her was a small-time trader named Crayden Holt, greasy hair, missing teeth, and a reputation for treating women worse than cattle. He dragged her onto his wagon like a piece of equipment, tying her wrists with coarse rope even though she didn't resist. Neighbors pretended not to see. A few women looked away, guilt flickering in their eyes. Someone whispered, "Poor thing won't last a week." But fate had a way of twisting paths right when they seemed locked. A few miles down the dirt road, the wagon wheel cracked, jolting Mira so hard she fell off the back. Crayden cursed and climbed down, yanking her up by the arm. That's when a horse's heavy gallop echoed across the plains. A tall man on a chestnut stallion approached, dust swirling around him like a storm. His weathered hat shadowed his eyes, but Mira could still see the intensity in them, the kind that came from losing a lot and surviving even more. His name was Jace Holloway, the rancher whose land stretched farther than anyone in the county. People called him the Iron Ridge Rancher, a man whose word was law on his land and whose silence carried more weight than a preacher's sermon. Jace dismounted slowly, his hand resting casually near the rope on his saddle, a silent warning. "She with you willingly?" he asked Crayden. The trader spat, "Ain't your business. Bought her fair. Got the deal right here." He slapped the sack of flour like it was sacred. Mira kept her eyes on the ground, refusing to show fear. Jace scanned her torn skirt, the rope around her wrists, the bruise blooming on her shoulder. Something inside him snapped, not in anger, but in recognition. He had seen that same look years ago, on his own little sister before their drunken father sold her off. She didn't survive the man she was sold to. Jace stepped forward. "She's coming with me." Crayden laughed, pulling out a rusted knife. "Over my dead body, rancher." The stallion snorted, sensing Jace's tension. Jace didn't reach for a weapon. He didn't need to. He simply said, "I'll pay twice what you gave." Crayden's eyes gleamed with greed. "4 sacks of flour." Jace nodded once. "Done." He tossed the flour from his saddlebag and cut the rope around Mira's wrists. The rancher didn't take her hand or touch her. He just whispered, "You walk on your own. No one owns you now." That was the first time in her life Mira felt seen. Jace took her to Iron Ridge Ranch, a sprawling stretch of green tucked between mountains and river. The place was full of ranch hands who respected him deeply, but they were confused when they saw Mira. Rumors sparked instantly. Was she his new bride? A runaway? A servant? Jace addressed them plainly, "She's under my protection. Treat her like you'd treat family, or find work elsewhere." For once, no one argued. At first, Mira barely spoke. She flinched at sudden noises, ate quietly, slept with her boots on like she expected to run at any moment. Jace didn't push her. He left small gestures instead, a clean room, a pair of boots her size, a book on the nightstand, a plate left outside her door when she didn't come to dinner. Slowly, she began to breathe again. Weeks turned into months. Mira started working in the stables, brushing the horses while humming old songs her mother used to sing before she died. The horses calmed around her like she carried peace in her hands. Jace watched her from a distance, unable to deny how her presence softened the ranch, how her laughter, rare at first, made the place feel alive again. One evening, as the sun spilled gold across the fields, Mira asked him, "Why did you help me?" Jace replied quietly, "Because someone should have helped my sister, and I wasn't old enough to save her." That confession bound them in a shared ache. It was the first time she realized he wasn't just a rescuer, he was a broken man rebuilding himself piece by piece. But peace never lasts long. Crayden came back. He rode in drunk with two men, claiming Jace stole his property. The ranch hands stepped forward, but Jace raised a hand. "What do you want?" Crayden sneered, "Her. Or cash. 5 times what I got." Jace didn't flinch. "You're not getting her." Crayden grabbed Myra's arm, snarling, "She was bought. She belongs to me." Mira didn't cry this time. She stood tall, looked him straight in the eyes, and said, "I belong to no one." Jace stepped forward so fast Crayden stumbled back. "I dare you to touch her again." Something in Jace's voice, steady, deadly, final, made even Crayden rethink his life choices. But his men reached for their guns. Before they could draw, the ranch hands cocked theirs in unison. The standoff was over before it began. Crayden, defeated, spat, "She ain't worth it." And that was when Mira walked up to him with steady breath and said, "I am worth everything you could never afford." Crayden rode off, humiliated. Mira collapsed in relief, and Jace caught her before she hit the ground. After that night, Myra's spirit blossomed. She started teaching women in town how to read, saved abandoned foals, and turned the ranch's old storehouse into a warm shelter for girls fleeing abusive homes. She wasn't just surviving, she was helping others survive too. One evening, under a sky full of quiet stars, Jace told her, "You remind this ranch what hope looks like." Mira smiled softly. "And you reminded me what worth feels like." Their feelings grew gently, naturally, not rushed, not forced. Two broken souls transforming each other without expecting anything in return. Years later, when Jace finally confessed his love, he didn't say it with grand gestures or flowery words. He simply whispered, "You don't owe me anything. Loving you is a gift, not an obligation." Mira, tears shining in her eyes, replied, "You didn't just save me, Jace. You returned me to myself." By the time their story became legend in Willow Bend, people no longer whispered about the sack of flour. They whispered about the rancher who gave a girl back her worth, and the girl who taught a whole community what courage truly was. And if this story touched your heart today, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to remember. Worth isn't given by others. Worth is something you carry inside you, waiting for the right moment, the right love, or the right courage to rise again.